the southwest corner of Utah and northern Arizona, Nevada. And we just rescue rental cars and over.
To millions of viewers, Matt from Matt's Off-Road Recovery is the calm voice in the chaos. The man who shows up when everything has gone wrong. His bright yellow Jeep, steady confidence, and problem-solving mindset have turned hopeless situations into stories with happy endings. Families stranded in the desert, adventurers trapped in sand dunes, and travelers facing panic all found relief when Matt arrived. But the version of Matt the audience sees on screen is only part of the story. Behind the viral rescues, the smiling thumbnails, and the triumphant recoveries lies a journey marked by financial strain, crushing responsibility, legal pressure, and a betrayal so deep it nearly destroyed everything he built. This is not just a story about off-road recovery. It is a story about trust, ambition, mistakes, and the cost of success. What follows is the side of Matt's journey rarely talked about, the struggles that shaped him, the wounds that tested him, and the resilience that carried him forward when walking away would have been easier. Long before millions of subscribers and professional-grade recovery rigs, Matt's off-road work was anything but smooth. When he began taking recovery calls around 2009, he did not have the specialized equipment that later became his signature. There were no massive winches, no long synthetic ropes laid out perfectly, and no backup vehicles standing by. Instead, every recovery felt like a gamble. Cables had to be dragged manually across deep sand, sometimes hundreds of feet at a time. After laying one extension, Matt would walk back, grab another, and repeat the process over and over. What should have been a short extraction often turned into hours of exhausting labor under the desert sun. Sand swallowed tires. Engines overheated, and tempers ran thin. The terrain itself showed no mercy. In places like Sand Hollow, where the ground shifts without warning and vehicles sink rapidly, every recovery carried risk. One wrong angle could bury a rig deeper. One snapped line could turn dangerous. Clients often faced bills reaching hundreds or even thousands of dollars. But despite those charges, Matt rarely came out ahead. Fuel costs were high. Equipment wore down quickly. Repairs never stopped. And when things went wrong, they went very wrong. Matt's instinct was always to help first and worry later. Many stranded drivers were families on vacation, inexperienced adventurers, or people who had underestimated the desert. Matt often reduced prices or absorbed losses to spare them from financial shock. While that generosity built goodwill, it also kept his business on the edge. There were recoveries where the time, fuel, and damage to equipment cost more than he earned. But turning people away was never easy. He understood the panic of being stuck miles from help, and he carried that understanding into every job, even when it hurt him financially. Sometimes the rescuer became the one needing rescue. Matt's own vehicles got stuck more than once. Deep sand, mud, and mechanical failures forced him into exhausting self-recoveries. Ropes snapped, parts broke, axles failed. Every failure meant another unexpected expense. The iconic rigs that fans later admired, the Banana and the Morver, did not come cheap. Each modification was a lesson learned through trial and error. Every mistake drained the budget further. Progress came slowly and success was never guaranteed. The physical work was only half the battle. Behind the scenes, Matt faced a challenge he never expected: learning how to document his work. Technology was not his strength. Editing software felt overwhelming. Footage went missing. Audio failed. Uploads took hours. Editors came and went. What viewers now see as effortless storytelling came from countless nights of frustration. Matt understood that sharing his rescues online was the key to survival. Without An audience, the business could not grow. Every finished video represented far more work than anyone realized. But he pushed through, knowing that telling the story mattered just as much as performing the rescue. Slowly the channel began to grow. As the audience expanded, the problems changed. But they did not disappear. More views meant more vehicles. More vehicles meant more maintenance. More staff meant more responsibility. Travel expenses increased. Fuel costs climbed. Repairs became constant. Producing content while running a rail recovery business felt like walking a tightrope. One wrong step could collapse everything. Insurance payments became another major strain. Delays, underpayments, and disputes made large recoveries risky. Jobs involving trucks, RVs, or extreme conditions often left Matt losing money despite days of effort. At the same time, public scrutiny intensified. Every decision was filmed. Every mistake was dissected. Comments flooded. And whenever something looked unsafe or inefficient, the same audience that loved the drama also demanded perfection. Balancing entertainment with responsibility became increasingly difficult. And then came the pressure to keep delivering bigger moments. As Matt's name grew into a recognizable brand, the attention extended beyond fans and viewers. Those closest to him saw the success up close, and not everyone handled it well. One individual, known here as Casey, was deeply involved in the operation. He wasn't just an employee. He was someone Matt trusted, someone who understood the filming process, the business structure, and the inner workings of the channel. That closeness made what happened next devastating. According to Matt, Casey began to believe the success belonged to him as much as or more than to Matt. He wanted recognition, control, and a massive share of the revenue. Tensions grew. Demands escalated. Eventually, Casey reportedly pushed for nearly half of the channel's earnings. The timing could not have been worse. Matt was already under intense legal pressure. His business practices were under investigation. Stress levels were at breaking point, and it was at this vulnerable moment that the relationship allegedly turned hostile. Matt has claimed that Casey crossed a line that shattered all trust. An ultimatum was delivered: pay a large sum, around $40,000, or face exposure. Casey allegedly threatened to reveal private business information details that could worsen Matt's legal situation. Legal letters followed. Demands were made to remove Casey, his associates, and even Matt's family from videos unless payment was made. The pressure was relentless. What hurt most was not the money. It was the realization that someone who had been part of the journey from early days now posed the greatest threat. Every vulnerability was targeted. Every weakness was exploited. The betrayal felt calculated and deeply personal. And yet, this was only part of the storm. In 2021, everything changed. Matt faced criminal charges in Utah, charges serious enough to threaten his freedom and career. The man known for rescuing others now needed rescuing himself. The accusations traced back to his earlier towing business and its relationship with roadside assistance contracts. Prosecutors claimed that certain recoveries were billed improperly, totaling over $15,000. From their perspective, it was fraud. From Matt's perspective, it was compassion. He believed he had helped stranded customers avoid devastating costs by working within a system that failed to account for extreme off-road recoveries. To him, it was never about deception. It was about doing what felt right in impossible situations. But the legal system does not always align with personal intent. After months of stress, Matt accepted a plea deal in 2022. The felony charge was reduced to a misdemeanor. He did not admit guilt, but he agreed not to contest the charge. The penalties were real. Probation repayment of over $15,000. Additional fines. Headlines spread quickly. Opinions formed instantly. Supporters defended him. Critics judged him harshly. Trust wavered, but the most painful detail was one that did not appear in most articles. According to Matt, the investigation was fueled by someone inside his own circle. That betrayal cut deeper than any fine. 4. The first time, viewers question everything. Was every rescue truly about helping people? Had the channel lost its original spirit? Was safety being sacrificed for spectacle? Longtime fans noticed changes: more branding, more merchandise, a polished feel replacing raw problem solving. Others worried about dangerous stunts, rollovers, and risky builds. The line between entertainment and responsibility grew thin. Matt felt the weight of those doubts daily. Many would have walked away. The shame, the criticism, the exhaustion, it would have been understandable. But Matt chose a different path. He did not hide. He did not disappear. He kept showing up. Video after video, he returned to what he loved: solving problems and helping people. He acknowledged the past without letting it define him. Slowly, trust began to rebuild. The community stood with him. Comments filled with encouragement. Fans reminded him why they believed in him in the first place. Out of betrayal grew a stronger bond with millions of strangers. The channel didn't just survive, it grew. Subscribers passed 1 million, then climbed toward 2 million. Views reached hundreds of millions. The work continued at a steady pace, 8 to 12 videos a month, staying true to the raw style that built the audience. No gloss. No hiding mistakes, just real recoveries. The morph became a symbol of reinvention. A classic body transformed into something powerful and unique. New revenue streams like Patreon added stability. Community events returned. Trusted team members remained. Matt no longer depended on large contracts. His reputation became his currency. As the channel expanded, Matt's role quietly changed. He was no longer just the guy behind the wheel or the one holding the winch controller. He became a leader responsible for livelihoods, safety, and decisions that affected more than just himself. Every crew member depended on his judgment. Every recovery carried legal, physical, and moral weight. Leadership, he learned, is linear than it looks. When a recovery went smoothly, the credit was shared. When something looked risky or controversial, the responsibility fell squarely on him. Viewers debated his choices from the comfort of their screens. But in the desert, hesitation could be far more dangerous than action. Matt had to make calls in seconds. Calls that could mean injury, loss of equipment, or worse. That burden never showed on camera, but it followed him everywhere. Physical exhaustion was easy to recognize. Mental exhaustion was not. Between filming schedules, recovery calls, legal stress, and online criticism, Matt carried a constant pressure that never truly shut off. Even on days without filming, his phone could ring at any moment with another emergency. There was always another vehicle stuck somewhere, another family waiting, another problem to solve. Sleep became lighter. Decisions weighed heavier. And while millions watched for entertainment, Matt understood that real lives were tied to every choice he made. One mistake could mean serious injury. That awareness stayed with him long after the engine shut down. Yet, stepping away was never an option. After everything he endured, Matt's idea of success quietly shifted. It was no longer about views alone or viral moments. It became about sustainability. Keeping his team safe, keeping his business honest, and keeping his integrity intact. He began choosing recoveries more carefully, prioritizing preparation over spectacle. Some viewers noticed fewer extreme stunts. Others noticed better planning, and slowly the channel matured alongside its creator. The focus returned to problem-solving, teamwork, and respect. For the terrain, the desert was no longer just a backdrop for content. It was treated as a force that demanded humility. Trust did not return overnight. Matt understood that once broken, trust must be earned repeatedly. He stopped trying to convince critics with words. Instead, he let consistency do the talking. Week after week, viewers saw the same calm demeanor, the same focus on safety, the same respect for people in trouble. Transparency became his strongest tool. He acknowledged mistakes when they happened. He showed the process, not just the outcome. And slowly, skepticism softened. Long time fans returned. New viewers discovered the channel without the weight of old headlines. Trust rebuilt through action proved stronger than before. While betrayal came from one direction, loyalty came from another. Through everything, familiar faces remained. Crew members who stayed through uncertainty showed viewers something powerful, that the foundation of the operation was still solid. Their presence wasn't loud or dramatic, but it mattered. It showed stability. It showed belief. And it reminded everyone that Matt's journey was never a solo act. The strength of the channel came from teamwork forged through hardship, shared risk, and long days under the same sun. With time, Matt began thinking beyond views and vehicles. He thought about what the channel represented. For many, it wasn't just entertainment. Let us know in the comments. And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more updates just like this.